All right. Good afternoon. Good morning, depending on where in the world you are. I think it's still morning for me, but it's afternoon for most of you. I see in the comments that you all on the East Coast, but then again, you could be watching the replay, and who knows what time of day it is. But I'm Bernadette L. Harris. I am the CEO and forensic accountant with the BTB advisory firm, and really excited about today's webinar. If you haven't noticed that we've been doing a series of webinars, and one of my passions is really keeping small business in business and connecting experts with small business owners. I've been in business now for 22 years, and I've learned a lot in 22 years. I've fallen down, failed a lot, but also learned a great deal. And in learning those things, I always want to be able to share things that will help people to kind of get there faster. So today, I'm sharing one of my prize resources with you. Our presenter for today is my communication strategist, and I would love to keep her a secret, but that's just not fair, right? So I'm really, really excited to share with you the person who has been handling the communications for our firm for over a year now, right? We're working almost 2 years, right? We've been working together. So typically I don't read bios, but since we're talking about bios, I figure it'd probably be a good idea for me to read her bio, right? Just so that you can get an idea. So I'm gonna read her bio. Forgive me for reading. But Nikki R. Jones is a seasoned communication strategist with over 16 years of experience. It transforms curious audience into loyal clients. Born to communicate, Nikki has welded her strategic prowess in government, nonprofit, and small business, making waves in media coverage and policy decisions. Today, Nikki helps clients bridge the gap between their services and their audiences' needs through long-term strategic partnerships and short-term engagements, including speech writing, delivery coaching, copywriting, and workshops. Get ready to learn how you can unleash the transformative power of strategic communications in your business. So I'm going to pass it over to Nikki. It is all yours.
Thank you very much. So hopefully you all heard that is a type of bio which people can use for introductions, and like she just did for me for this workshop, or you might use it for a podcast or something like that. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later, but hopefully nobody was falling asleep and you were wide awake, like, oh, wait a minute, let me hear a little bit more about what's happening. So I am not going to, because I know that we don't have a lot of time, I'm not going to go through an official introduction to me because you heard the bio. I do want to say that we are going to be together for about 40 minutes. This is going to be interactive, so there will be some times where I'm asking you questions, so you can put them in the chat or just come right off the mute and say something. But when you're done talking, go back on the mute, okay? All right. How many people have a bio right now? You could just say me or yes, or just say yes or no if you have a bio.
Or thumbs up, yeah.
Whatever. And thank you for those of you who are on the camera. I know that when I'm participating in workshops, I got pajamas on, the bonnet. I don't be on the camera. So I see.
Middle of the day probably helps. You probably had to get dressed, right? So
listen, trust me, I had to go through some things. I'm gonna take some pictures when I get done with this. I'm gonna do some video when I get done. Gonna maximize. All right. And how many people have had their bio updated within the past 6 to 9 months? I see like some head shaking, but I don't know if that's I need to do better or if that's an agreement. I'm not quite sure. So this is a safe space. I probably should have said that in the beginning. This is not a judgment zone. As Bernadette said, I work with clients, but sometimes my stuff, it's kind of like the hairdresser who she always got a hat on, but she do your hair real good. So I've even had to update mine as well. So again, we're going to be interactive with this. There will be a handout. So let me just go ahead and start sharing my screen. There will be a handout that you can Oh, I can't see anybody. I just did that. That's not right. So yeah, there will be a handout that you'll be able to download shortly. Okay. Alrighty. So listen, there is bios have they have a magnetic power, right? And the power of that is that somebody can read your bio and they can feel like, oh, yes, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to work with this person. I'm going to go ahead and introduce this information to this person. Even what you're looking at on the screen, that's like a really, really, really condensed bio. It has people saying, well, oh, okay, so she does this and she does this and she does that. It has you paying attention, and it helps people decide they want to go ahead and take that further step with you. And so when you have that great bio, it's also, and this sounds a little bit vague, but when somebody is reading your bio and introducing you, and you are watching it's happening in person, and you're watching the people like, when is this going to be done? Oh my God. You don't want that kind of situation. You want them to be looking like, oh, okay, well, all right. And then you also want to be sitting there like, that's right, I did that. But it has to be written in that way for it to happen. So on the screen that you're looking at, you will see that there is a QR code on the bottom. You could scan that so that you don't have to take a bunch of notes, and you'll be able to get the download from this workshop. How many people, and you'll see it'll come up a few other times during the workshop. How many people are speakers, or whether you speak on stages or you do workshops or you MC events? How many people does that work for? Is that LaShonda? Okay. And Sybil did a heart.
Because she's sharing her screen, she can't see your faces anymore. So if you want to type answers in the chat.
I do see a couple of faces, but if you see anything pop up in the chat, please do let me know. So I wanted to just echo that it's not always that you have to have some long bio. You may have something that is short, like what Bernadette just read, which is about 30 seconds, or you may have a quick introduction that somebody can use on the Instagram Live if they're introducing you, or maybe they need to have something quick that they can introduce you to a decision maker or something. You need something that is going to be the longer one, your official bio. You want to have something that's shorter that people can use for introductions, and that small one. So I'll tell you how I use it. Recently, I was on a news publication, and so I was able to send them a link in my Google Drive, where they were able to get my professional headshots. They were also able to get the different versions of my bios and the introduction. And just as Bernadette did, they took right from there because they were able to read it. They didn't have to try to put it together or ask someone on their team to do that as well. Now, I'd imagine that some of you have dibbled and dabbled, whatever your skill set might be, whether you are the best wealth advisor or whoever you might be, you probably dibbled and dabbled over to the other side and tried to write your own bio. How many people are you like, yeah, that was me, I had did that. Okay. And what kinds of challenges did you have with writing your own bio? You can come off mute.
So I haven't written mine per se. I've just continued to update it. So that's why I kind of gave that middle ground kind of waving. But over time, I ended up adding more because my history, my bio had changed, right? So I was somewhere for 21 years, and that was more about these accomplishments. But then now where I am, it's more about having people to connect with me. So I want to be much more authentic about who I am, what I'm doing, who I'm touching, which is a bit different from the other official bio. So I have done a lot of updating. Not sure that I've categorized things correctly or any of that, but I have done it.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for sharing that, Sybil. That is definitely, what I hear from people, that they want to make sure that it's showing who they are now, because we do change. Sometimes you have different offerings. You got such and such an award last year. Maybe you got married or whatever it is that you want to include in there. So that's why it is important to update your bio. Typically, when I'm talking to people, I'm hearing these issues. Now, so they have a lack of objectivity. And so they feel like, I don't really know if I can talk about myself. Like, I can't do it. You ask somebody, you ever met somebody where there's two people standing there, and then the other person has to chime in and be like, let me tell you what you really do, and then they have to be that champion for them. So people can have that challenge, or they have a difficulty with storytelling. Now, you don't have to be a communication strategist, but you do want to make sure that your bio tells a story, even when you're thinking about how you're showing what jobs you've had, because you don't want it to be like, And in 1918, I did this and blah, blah, blah. Like that sounds kind of boring. And when you're sending your bio to people who get bios all of the time, it kind of starts as a glaze for them. If you've ever been on the other side of the table when you are receiving resumes or applications, after a while, it becomes a blur, right? So you need a cover letter that's going to stand out or what have you. So it's the same kind of thing with bios. And then as when you think about the information, well, they want to put, well, my mama had did this, and then my grandmama did this, and I started out doing this in high school. And you are not going to need all the information about your mom and your grandma, I'm pretty sure, unless you're speaking to mamas and grandmas, maybe so. Then they may have the lack of confidence about their writing skills or what have you. There's writer's block. When it comes to writer's block, what I will say is it's a lot easier to start when you have, or to finish when you've actually started. So just write down all of the things you did. Put the mom and the grandmama in there. You can go back later and edit out what doesn't need to be there, but put everything. Every award you got, every win you had with the client, put it all there. The last thing you see in the upper right is the professional and personal. This should say versus some other language, but I couldn't fit in my squares and I wanted to keep my aesthetics. So in your bio, I believe that, especially nowadays when so many people have social media and you are able to kind of glean somebody's personality, it's a good idea to make sure that your bio has a little bit of personality in there. I'm not going to share. Well, there's a screen where I will share something about or some pieces from my bio, but you'll see I mentioned my little brother. Now you might be like, wait a minute, I thought you said don't mention your mama, but you'll see how it ties it in a second. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to crafting your unique story. And I hope you all do have some pens, even though you can get the download, that you have something where you're able to take some notes. Now, there are different types of bios. There is that professional bio, there is a speaker bio, there might be a company bio. The company bio is going to talk about the company, of course. Your speaker bio is going to include the things that you speak about and kind of talk about the impact that you will be having on the audience so that people can kind of gather themselves and prepare. Your professional bio is going to be about your professional accolades or your experiences in work and such. There's an artist bio, there's executive bio. Executive would be more of about your leadership or your visionary ability to really take a team and lead them from here to there, take the company and lead it from here to there. So you came in and they were doing $1 million in revenue and you took them to 8 figures, it's that kind of a thing. So understanding the different types of bios, I like to, when writing a bio for someone, kind of mix it with professional and speaker, only because most people these days are doing social media lives where they need to be introduced. They are doing podcast interviews, and they're also in some cases, going out and getting media. And so I want to have something that talks about their successes, talks about their impact, but also has a little bit more of their personality in it. When I work with clients and I'm writing a bio for them, they're going to get the package. They'll get the little 15-second, about 30 seconds, and they'll get something that's more of 90 seconds so that they have all the different things that I mentioned. I do, which is a flag here, of course, because, I got a business, right? So the investment for that is $500, and then there's a $1,000 package that includes a video where they could have something that will show up on their website they can use on social media, so people are able to feel their energy or their vibration. And then also comes with a little bit of coaching too to make sure that they're doing it right. But so also there is first person bio and there is third person. First person is going to say, I did this, I did that, and then third person is she and her and so forth. The value in doing first person is that you can include more personality. And I'm really big on having a personality. I want people to read my bio and feel like, let's go ahead and schedule that meeting. Or oh, that looks interesting. I think I'm going to go ahead and book for, whatever event that they're speaking at or what have you. I really want them to kind of, feel that. And then when you do it in third person, it's a bit more prim and proper. It's a bit more gris coupon, which is fine. And that allows people the ability to then have something more that they can adjust if they have to, if they need to do an introduction for you. But it is my practice to make sure that I have a full bio, and then I also have intro bios for people so that they don't really have to go messing with my bio. Any questions at this point? Okay, feeling good. And you can see this bar. I'm trying to get this bar stuff. Okay, all right. So, what do you think are the must-haves when it comes to putting a bio together? Come off mute.
What you do and who you do it for.
Definitely, that should be included in there for sure. For sure. Anybody else want to chime in? We interactive here.
I would say something that makes you stand out and what your audience, who your audience is, focusing on that audience.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. So here's what I like to include. For sure, you want to make sure that you have something that's going to cause you to stand out because, like I said earlier, people are seeing a lot of bios and they want to see something that's like, oh, okay. And yes, what you do and who you do it for, what your title is at your job, because not everybody is a business owner using their bios in a way that they want to attract new clients. It's really important to have a call to action. And so your call to action might be, I have used Connect at the website. I've used that. You also could have go to this link and download her 10 tips on whatever that might be. This is going to help you to get people on your email list. You might say go to connect with her on social media so that you can see how she uses video to attract new clients or whatever it is that you talk about. But you don't want to just end your bio with just like at the end. It should say, and if you want to learn more about how LaShonda helps people have special shirts, click here and get a discount or whatever that might be. I don't think LaShonda does that, but but you need to have something so that people aren't they're going through kind of a little bit of an emotional roller coaster when they're reading your bio or they're having your bio be read to them. And you don't want them to just get to the end and then it's just like, well, all right, next. Then here's a quick little tip. If someone has read your bio and they are introducing you, you should make sure that if you're having a call to action at the end, that when you first get up and you start speaking, you allow people time to be on their phone to go to your social media or to go to that link. Okay, so that's just a little added thing here. But here are a few other things that should go in there. It should be, like I said, the call to action. I call the list here. You want to make sure that you have the tone and the voice that is your personality. I have a client she likes to use the cuss words, okay? So we're going to put that in there, right? Because she really wants to make sure that she's showing up as herself. I mean, imagine if you saw someone's bio and it was just very much like this, and you imagine they had an ascot on and then the pipe or whatever, and then I get out like, hey y'all, you don't want that. You want it to look the same, like you're experiencing the same person. I'm trying to find my list here. Sorry about that. I had some other ones that I wanted to share with you. Aha. I don't use my education in my bio, and let me tell you why. I'm a communication strategist, and my degree is in criminal justice. So unless somebody won't get hemmed up after I give them these words, or unless you got a cat on the loose or something, that's not really going to work. But those of you who do have degrees that are specialized to what you do, or you have, the special letters behind your name, like Bernadette, you'll want to make sure that you include those. I do see other people using a summary statement. For me, the summary statement is what you're putting in the very beginning. That could be like that 15-second intro that somebody might use. So it's not like when you heard me say summary statement, you may have been thinking, how you look at somebody's resume and they put on the top, my interest in becoming a great person, something, something. You're like, what? Okay, so it's not that. Any questions so far before we move on? All right. So this is the exciting part for me. This is my framework. I call it my CSI framework. As you can see, the letters there are compelling, strategic, and inviting. And these are the pieces that you want to make sure that you have in that you consider when you're putting your bio together. Compelling. It is important to make sure that you are captivating people from the very beginning so that they hear something that makes them say, oh, wait, let me listen. Again, all of us have been to a conference before or a workshop like this, and then someone's bio is being read and you are thinking like, when is it going to end? We don't want that. You want something from the beginning. And if that statement in the beginning is, she saved 15,000 whales, you're like, wait, what? Then it needs to be that. Or if it is that you have 2 decades of experience or whatever it might be, or if it is that she's the first winner of the Obama award. I made that up. Put something in the beginning that automatically commands people's attention. Strategic. Okay, I hope y'all listening because we're gonna have a quiz kind of situation in a minute. So strategic. It is important to make sure that your bio, you're not having your bio written if you're investing, or whether you're investing money in somebody like me to write it, or you are writing it yourself and it's taking you days and weeks and stuff, however that goes for you. You're not investing so that you can just have it to have. You want to make sure that it makes sense. For LaShonda, you brought up a minute ago about having different audiences. If you are a speaker, you want to make sure that when that bio is read, that people are warmed up and they are ready for you to come on the stage. They're ready to receive. It's the kind of, when you think about, you go to, imagine like a comedy show. They don't just bring out Dave Chappelle. Some other people come out in the beginning, get you warmed up, and then you've been laughing good, and you got your good laugh style, and you done lean back and stuff like that. So when Dave come out, you're ready, you're warmed up. That's what you want your bio to do. And so when you're being strategic with your bio, you are going to make sure that it is aligned to the audience who you want to speak to. If your audience that you're speaking to are small business owners, you're going to mention something about being a small business owner yourself if that's your situation, or about how you work mostly with small business owners so that, again, they can feel connected to it. If your audience are students, then maybe you might talk about how you graduated from the same school that you're speaking at or what have you. Or you might mention something that you do with kids that could connect them. I don't do a lot of speaking with kids, but they'd be looking at me like, what is she doing? So I really can't give you a lot of tips there. I probably shouldn't use that example. But if you are going to be speaking to parents, then that makes awesome sense for you to say, as a mother of 8, Sandra knows exactly what it takes to multitask and to be an award-winning blah, 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 right? Just those few words infused in there, other mothers heard that. Other mothers know what it is to have to balance things. And so if you're connecting with it. And if in that example, if Sandra is going to be someone who is teaching other mothers how to do this, then what you're understanding already is that Sandra don't just talk about it, she walked that walk. The last one for the CSI framework is inviting. And that is going to include the part I mentioned earlier about having a call to action, but it's going to explain to people how they can connect with you, how they can work with you, what it's like to work with you. You could do this with including a testimonial in your bio, like a little snippet. So you might say something like dynamic, thoughtful, heart-led, are just a few of the words that her clients have used to describe her. When someone's thinking about working with you, that's not like, is she heartland? That's not like my people. If that's the kind of thing that you're on. When you hear dynamic, or when you hear results oriented, that might click for a decision maker, like someone who's in HR, what have you. Okay, so I have gone over the CSI framework. Before we go into the quiz, you might fail. I'm just joking. I just want to know if you have any questions. It's an easy quiz. Don't worry. Any questions? Okay, we don't want to get to the end.
I have a question on when you straddle two different industries, right? So I have myself and my business partner Paul Garcia on, and we're in the real estate space, but we're also in the real estate technology space. And so we talk to these two different worlds, right? And we have one world that's cutting edge and one world that is, traditional. And that's always the hard piece, because sometimes I've had to do two different bios and they have to be completely different almost. People care about how many assets you have under management, while other people really want to know, do you understand the technical thing? So is it normal to have two bios, or is it better to just have one and really try to make it all mesh?
So here's what I would recommend. What you might have on your website is going to kind of include that you do both of those things, and that will be just smaller and it'll be brief. If you are, this is aside from the bio, but then you would have a page that's for the technical part, and then a page for, you know, that people who are concerned about how many assets you have under management. I would have that. But when it comes to the bio, I would have two bios, especially if you are speaking. Because if you're speaking to that tech audience, maybe they don't want to hear about the assets under management. And then what's happening is your bio is being read and you're losing them. So whether it's being read in person or if someone has the papers here and they start, and it's like, oh, now they've skipped over something that you may have needed, or you have not maximized valuable time. Do you have one bio now, or do you have a piece of two?
Oops. I have one for one space, and I have a less thorough one in the technology space.
Yes.
So,
And do you do any
yeah.
Do you do any speaking?
I have. It's one of my goals to do more in the future. Yes, especially on the more on the technology side.
Okay. Yeah, I would have two bios, and not just two bios. I would have two different sets of how people can introduce me to the different audiences.
Okay.
So for just a quick example here, I'm also an artist. If Bernadette started talking about me being an artist when she was introducing me, that would have made no sense for what you all are here for today. But my art is cute. Okay. All right. Okay. So here's the quiz. Compelling. Remember, compelling, you want to have a good hook for people, a good something that's going to make somebody eyebrow like, what? Wait, we got to pay attention. You've been at a conference before and your friend is talking. He's like, girl, hold on. That's what you want. So I want you just to take a moment to look at the screen and see A and B. Just read it to yourself. And then I'll let you know when I'm ready to hear which one you think is compelling. Some of y'all look serious. Somebody look stressed. It's a safe space. It's a safe space.
You want them to type their answers in the chat?
You can do that. That'd be great. And this one is written in first person. I tried very hard for this presentation to show you the different types. Okay, right. It is B. Why do you think that it's not A? Can whoever choose B, just come off mute and let me know why do you think it's not A?
LaShonda had a real good answer in the chat. I'm calling you out, LaShonda. Paul said A is dry.
It is. You know, this down here in a world of marketing, I'm the storyteller who like that sounds like what? First of all, you can see how it's exuding confidence, right? This is not, well, you know, I'm an accountant. No. I'm an award-winning accountant. I serve. It's like that. Like it sounds different. Like, oh, okay. Let me see what I'm going to be able to get. All right. I'm going to move on to the second one. There's just one more after this because it's the CSI method. There's three. Which one sounds strategic? Keep in mind, strategic, you're thinking about why am I having my bio read or whether it's read aloud or in your head. What do I want to happen? Okay, so go ahead and put in the chat which one you think is strategic. So because we have more than one person, I'm just going to give, okay. Let's see what y'all putting in here. Yes. Y'all good students. Y'all about to write. Awesome, wonderful bios. Yes. A sounds, you're using this data-driven insights and propelling business forward, strategic goals. Think about someone who is in HR or who's a business owner, either one will work, and they're thinking, oh, okay, all right, okay. And B, you say that you're detail-oriented. I mean, what else do you want to put? Like, I'll be paying attention. Sometimes I'll be on time, you know. Of course you're gonna say it. Of course you're gonna say that, but this one stands out more. You thrive you thrive on transforming vision into measurable success. What That sounds like whoever, let's say, who hires you, whoever they have to report to, they're going to be able to go back and say, we went from here to here. And that's what they need to be able to do. And the business owner who hires you, if you're able to say, well, I'm coming in and managing communications for you so that you can be confident, so that you're looking polished. That sounds like, oh, okay, wait a minute. This is what I need. All right, here's the last one, inviting. And keep in mind, you want people to experience your bio and feel like, let me do what's next so that I can know more about this person or their offering. Put in the chat which one you think is inviting. I just realized, Bernadette, I can't see the time.
Oh, you're good. We're 33 minutes in.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me see what you got. Yes, B is the absolute answer. A, so feel free to reach out. You know, it's like, imagine you went on a date and then the guy's like, you know, I'm saying, if you want to, you can call me if you want to. Like, well, you're like, no, no, I'm a queen, you know? So this one, B, is direct. It is, let's connect, because for how we can collaborate and achieve remarkable outcomes. Don't hesitate to drop me a message. I look forward to our conversation. So that it makes you feel like, well, if I message her, she's going to respond. You know, we've been to the things before, the workshops, we've been to the conferences, and it's like real clear, like, don't talk to her. You know, she got a team over there. She done went behind the curtain before you got done clapping. But this sounds like, you know, you don't have, because a lot of times when people are coming to you how many people are business owners here? I didn't ask that. LaShonda, Sybil. Okay. So when you're speaking at something, whatever it is, and I just want you to remember, you don't have to be doing a keynote speech. You can be doing a webinar, you can be doing whatever it is. You know, you want people to feel like you are approachable. Most times people are very vulnerable when it comes to having to reach out to someone to do their communications, to do their finances, and you want them to feel like, okay, so it's okay, it's calm, it's cool over here. Yeah. Was there a question?
Well, I was going to say what I like about the second one is when you talk about collaborating, it's not all about you. It's about how I can help you get there together versus just being about what I can do for you.
Yes, yes. And people, your bio is going to be part of your selling process. And people may not think of it that way, but it is. And people buy out of emotions. You know, it's very rarely that it's like this. Even if you are the person in the company and it's not your company, you're still thinking, well, gee, I know we got this and this happening. We need somebody to come ease this up. You know, we had this happen last year. We lost my money. I can't do that again. I'm gonna lose my job, or whatever that might be. You want them to feel a way when they're experiencing your bio. Here is, I'm going to give you, I should tell you, I'm doing a big no-no here with this presentation, because there's a lot of words on the screen, but there's no way that I can like really show you pieces of bio without having them. I'm going to read this one to you. I'm going to try, I can't see it. Okay. So just imagine if you were Tiana and think about how this would feel to have the pride of it, but also when you are getting ready to hear Tiana speak. Tiana Jenkins, a marketing maestro with a decade of experience and a strategic brilliance backed by an MBA and a PhD. She shapes the destinies of brands worldwide, turning challenges into transformation. As a master storyteller and digital marketing maestro, Tiana crafts unforgettable experiences that boost revenue. Beyond business, she mentors creative minds, champions the arts, and advocates for STEM education. Connect with Tiana for an innovative journey in marketing and storytelling that will revolutionize your approach to business at tianaexample.com. Could you imagine, like, if you were Tiana, like what that sounds like? She gonna revolutionize some stuff. If you were the person who could be impacted, that sounds like, let me go. And if it wasn't a typo in the beginning up here, you know, you feel even more powerful about it. But life be lifing. Okay, I know that I mentioned before I wanted to show you about employment, about how to be able to include that in a way where it doesn't seem like you're just listing. This is the part where you can use some language that sounds like storytelling. So this is from my bio. Nikki's story begins with teaching her little brother his ABCs, a fitting start for someone born to be a communicator. She got her official wings at AQE, and then you can see the rest of that there. That sounds more like a story. And even just, he is my little brother. He's a whole grown man. Brendan is 49, he's got 5 kids and a wife, but I still refer to him as that. But just using that language, little brother, it makes people have a different kind of a feeling, because I could have just said my brother. So that was strategic. When I mentioned my job where I work for the controller, this is enter the bustling world. That sounds different as opposed to, and then she had worked here, And so when you're listening to that as someone who's in the audience, or you're reading on the paper, it seems more of a story. Any questions so far about employment and how you would list that? I want to also mention that you should, when you're listing your employment, make sure that you include things that you did there that were like major milestones. Because the fact that you worked for government, but what was that? Or at least mention manage this, so that it sounds like, okay, this is what I was doing, and people kind of get a better picture of what you had going on there. Now, some people don't include where they worked at. I mean, I worked at Eckerd's before. I don't know if you know what Eckerd's is. It's like a CVS or a Rite Aid.
They didn't make
I'm
it.
not gonna. Yeah. I was 16. Like, I'm not gonna include that there. Now, if I wanted to be real cheeky about it, I can mention how that's where I first learned to speak to wide audiences. And let me tell you how. Because I had an attitude problem when I was 16. I used to get on that microphone and be like, "Attention shoppers, the time is now." And tell them when they had to leave. You got 10 minutes. But don't go that far in a stretch. But there are jobs that I've had. I've worked in direct care where I've changed a grown man's diaper. I'm not going to include that in here because that wouldn't make any sense. But guess what? If I was speaking before an audience of direct care people, I'm going to tweak my bio so that it includes that in there, so that they can have that. That's the strategic part, so that they can understand, like, oh, she knows what we're going through. She has some idea about it. Still, any questions about this? We're going to go to an interactive part. Okay.
I don't have questions, but I have just a comment that I wanted to add. And like you, I've done just that. There was a time in my life when I was a high school teacher, and recently I did a podcast for educators. And so I never really mentioned that I taught high school because it was a haze. But but when I was speaking to this group of educators, that was an important thing to mention. I also had a remodeling company. And so there was a time when I was speaking at a builders conference. And so letting people understand that I knew I used to own a business like your business helped them to see that I understood their business. So there are times, like you said, when what you've done in the past makes a difference, and you should mention.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to move on to the interactive part. So I've taken some pieces from what I read from Tiana. And there we have the intro. That's an option because you all are going to do one of them. We have the intro piece. Here's an example that you can look at. You keep in mind, we want things to be compelling, strategic, and inviting. We have the personal option that you can choose, which this is where you can say, you have 2 dogs, you live in Colorado, and you like to go hiking, or whatever you want to put there. And then we have the ending, which is going to be your call to action piece. So I would love for you all to just take 3 minutes at the most to do one of these options for yourself. Is there anybody that has any questions just yet about this, about what the action is? Okay, so no questions. So that means now you've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. For anyone that has to hop out, you can use the QR code there to get the download. Yeah, because I don't have a timer over here, which probably could have been helpful. I think you got 30 seconds left.
Sounds fair to me.
We're gonna go with my math. 5 seconds. All right. Who is going to be the victim and read theirs? I definitely saw LaShonda writing, so I mean, you on camera. If you don't want to go, hold on, wait a minute. Does somebody else want to go?
Okay. I said LaShonda is a business consultant dedicated to moving small businesses forward with workflows and procedures that are sure to win in any industry. Personal, she's compassionate, enjoys teaching students how to succeed and teaching small business owners and students how to succeed. I didn't get to the last one.
Okay, but you did more than I asked, so thank you for that. You just only have to do one of them. But let's hear some reaction of what, do you understand what LaShonda does? Are you intrigued a little bit? I see Bernadette shaking her head, yes. Let me tell you what I really liked about the beginning of hers is that she said that it can work in any industry. I thought that was really good because I'm sure you get people coming to you and saying, well, I have a daycare, would this work for me? And you're like, yes. So you just squash all any kind of doubt they might be having right from the beginning. I like your personal, because just that person, everybody doesn't use this, but that personal flair kind of helps shape you to be outside of what people, they're like, oh, well, he's a doctor and he does blah, blah, blah. No, I want to know like something else that makes him a real person. And again, because we're in this time now where people are posting so much on social media, you start, you get to know people. You're like, oh, the baby got teeth now. You get to know them, and people want to people want to be able to have that connection. Did anybody else read their example?
I'll read. I did the ending. So I said, connect with Sybil for an informative and inspiring journey that will change your financial trajectory at IntegraVestWealthAdvisors.com.
I like that. Change your financial trajectory, because you ain't had none. You're like, oh, okay, I definitely need to. I need to get it together. Did anybody have any thoughts about whether or not you were going to do first person or third person? I heard Sybil, you did third. I can't remember, LaShonda, if yours was first person or not. Like, what was your thinking behind how you would do it? LaShonda, you came off mute.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, but I didn't know if it makes sense what I was going to say. I'm good at talking about myself. I know me best, so first person is why I would have chosen that perspective.
Okay. It's not difficult at all to have a bio and then flip it over to third person if you started with first person. Again, first person tends to be a little more conversational, a little more personable, and then the third person is a little more prim and proper, and we've got business suit jackets on here. So it depends on which persona you want to put out. We're going to go into Q&A, but just as a reminder, if you scan the QR code, you can get a download of what we went over, not the slides, but the actual teaching of it. So that way, when you're ready to sit down and do your bio over, you have some examples to look at. And there's more than the examples that we went over. And I think I included my full bio in that. I think if I didn't, and you get the email, you don't see it, email me and ask me for it. So I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have. I hope that you will use this opportunity to ask them. I know that when I have opportunity to participate in a complimentary, that sounds better than free, opportunity to learn things that I can implement in my business or my professional life, I want to take advantage of it, especially when you have an intimate group. So I'm here for another, I think we have another 10, 12 minutes, Bernadette.
12 to be exact.
Okay.
What
So
is a
I have a
delivery?
question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What is a delivery coach?
Okay. So if I'm writing a speech for you, or it could be a full-on speech, or it could be the remarks that you may use in a video that you post on your website or on your social media, when I'm working with them for the delivery, because we don't want you to be like, well, so I'm Marcus, and one of the things that I like to do, we don't want that. We want to make sure that you are inviting. We want to make sure that you know when to pause for emphasis. We want to make sure that we have all those things together so that your videos are impactful for people.
Okay, that makes sense. And the copywriting it's just sales copywriting, or is it business? Is it in the copywriting spaces that you've mentioned here, or something else?
Listen, Marcus, if you need me to write your dating profile, I can help you, like whatever you need, your vows.
We'll definitely have to have a talk.
So copywriting for me is, I mean, it could be those things. I have my own experience in that. Okay, but not the vows part yet. But it is sales emails. It is what's on your website. It is, what I posted on social media today. It takes 8 seconds. You have 8 seconds to command somebody's attention. So that's when they're reading your bio. That's when they're reading your sales email. They're looking at your website, when they're seeing what you have posted on social media, when they're seeing what you're verbally saying in those videos. And so working with me for copywriting is going to be able to get you to that place where you're you know how you're at home looking, listening, and you don't really hear what's, and you say, wait, what? You want that. You want that impact for people, even if they're reading it. Sometimes we start to glazing over things, and you got to start over because it's like, hold on a minute. You want that. You want them to make sure that, or you want to make sure that they understand what it is you offer, how you offer it, the difference that it makes, and you want to guide them to booking a call with you.
I would think the hardest part or the most difficult part about all this is coming across genuine. I think Bernadette does a great job of doing this. And I'm like, I think she knows I like have her on this pedestal way up here. I've always said if Bernadette recommends it, it's gospel. I just feel that way about her. She's really proven herself over the years as well. But just to make it feel genuine and coming across like, I feel this as well. How do you do that? And how much coaching does that take?
So, well, hold on 1 second, because I would love for Bernadette to chime in here, but LaShonda, I would like to hear from you. You say come across genuine. What do you mean by that?
Well, if it's your words, it's kind of like how, people can make us look great on paper. And then for me to say, like, you make me look great on paper, and I'll be like, that's really me. And then to be able to say that in my own words and it feel real, because oftentimes we're not comfortable talking about ourselves. So from that
Okay. So are you speaking about, like, if you worked with someone like me and I write the words you're going to say in the video?
yes.
Okay. So Bernadette, I'll let you give a response to how it works for you, but then I'll chime in after.
Okay. So Nikki and I have been working together now for about 1.5 years. One of the things that has made our relationship partnership work is that we get each other. Like, so before I even hired Nikki, she spent a lot of time learning me. Like, she listened to some of my speeches. She was on my website. And so even when she writes my copy, whether it's an email or a social media post, people don't know if that's a post that I wrote or if it's a post that Nikki wrote. And you don't know because some of them are posts that she's written and some of them are posts that I've written. But because she knows me and she knows how to speak in my language, it comes across as authentic because it's like it's the way that I talk. It's the way there are sometimes where it may be a word in there. I'm like, yeah, I would never say that word. So yeah, we're gonna take that word out, or something like that. But for the most part, it's just really making sure that she knows who you are. And that was the difference between working with her and working with other people. She really spent the time to get to know me, who I am, And so the language that came across in all of our communications sound just like me, because it kind of was, you know.
Yeah, I will echo on that and say if you're working with a copywriter or a speech writer, you want to make sure that they're asking. Like I literally ask people, do you want cuss words or scriptures? You know, like they laugh when I say it, but I need to know. Okay, because I can bang on the computer and type some cuss words out for you or whatever that you need. Because again, you don't want people to read your website or to read your social media posts and then now you sound different when you get on. You know, maybe you are a person who wants to come across as very caring, very calm, very compassionate. Maybe you are a therapist, but that language might not, or is most likely not going to work for someone who's a personal trainer. Like I need you to be like, get in here, let's go.
Cuss
And I
words.
don't need you to be like, sometimes as women we think, no. my trainer is like, do you remember your why? And I'm like, dang, why you yelling at me? But we want to be able to make sure that we have that. And then like Bernadette said, it is an ongoing thing where you're building a very intimate relationship with your client, because I need for her to feel comfortable to say, yeah, not that word. And then sometimes I will have to say to her, okay, why not? Because then when she starts to explain that, I start to realize, well, maybe I should change this other word too, or what have you. And then of course, I'm going to know for the future. I don't want to be writing things for my clients and they get it and they like, who is this for? That would be a mess. And even just on an echo part and say this part, even with the delivery coaching, because I have watched people on podcasts, I've watched some other things. Thank you, Marcus. I'm understanding like what your body language looks like, do you raise your voice? Because if you want to be like, we didn't learn about Plymouth Rock, and then, I can help you do that too. Or if you want to come across this way, we can do that as well. And we can still chime in there what's going to help you connect with the people who are watching the camera. I mean, if you look at some of the videos, my videos on social media, it's my personality. But I'm definitely at the end of a lot of the videos, I'm doing this. Somebody might be like, girl, what you doing there? Are you trying to get a date? No, like this is me and this is how I interact. And when you watch those videos and you see me doing that, you're like, we're still making that connection. Any other questions?
Well, great job, Nikki. This was awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest today and all of that stuff. You all have her information if you want to connect with her. Yeah, did I forget anything?
I don't think so. Wait, I know you have upcoming things. Okay.
I do.
Let's switch the client hat. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't have the outline that she drew. She made me an outline and I don't have it. No. No. But yes, we are. One of the things that we are working on is a strategic planning session for small business owners. Everybody knows how passionate I am about small business owners. And so we're working on a strategic planning session. We actually did one in January and it was amazingly successful. Everybody who walked away from that session had talked about how awesome it was. I even had one of the testimonials was like a month later, and the participant talked about how his revenue increased by like $2,000 or $3,000 just from implementing some of the strategies that we talked about or shared in that session. So we're doing it again in January. It's actually going to be better because we've added some content. We added another day. And so if you are watching this, hopefully, I don't know, we'll put a link in the comments on the replay on how you can get more information about that. Yeah. Okay. All righty. So thanks again for being here, and we will see you in the next webinar.